Beloved chosen one, listen carefully, this is not coincidence. Heaven has paused everything around you so that you would hear this message. Your heart is racing, your eyes widening, and you can feel something shifting in your spirit. That is not emotion, that is divine recognition, since you are being called by name. You have felt it for some time now, an invisible pull behind your eyes, a stirring that makes you see the world differently. You look around and notice things others ignore. Light hits you differently. Reflections seem to speak. And deep inside, you know it, something is awakening. Angels are near. They are not whispering through words this time, but through your very sight. Every flicker, every glance, every moment your eyes seem drawn to something, there is a message hidden inside. The spiritual realm has chosen your eyes as its mirror. Because your gaze is no longer ordinary, it is sanctified by purpose. Heaven has decided that you will not just look, but see. The angels are not testing you. They are training you to perceive divine codes in the midst of chaos. When you feel your eyes linger on something unexplainable, do not rush away. That is heaven saying, pay attention. You are not here by accident. The reason your eyes have become sensitive to light, reflection, or movement is because heaven has been rewiring your perception. The spiritual sight inside you has been awakening slowly, sometimes through pain, sometimes through peace. Your tears, your sleepless nights, your moments of deep wondering, they have all prepared you for this moment. The world calls it coincidence, but heaven calls it alignment. You have been wondering why people say you see too deeply, why you notice the pain behind someone's smile, why you feel the energy in a room shift when you walk in. It is because your eyes are not just biological, they are prophetic. You are one of the watchmen of light. Every chosen one carries this mark: eyes that perceive beyond the surface, eyes that recognize hidden truth. The reason you sometimes feel weary is because the light within your vision is heavy with revelation. The Word of God declares in the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 22, "The lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is clear, your whole body will be full of light." There is a holy reason for your sight. The angels are teaching you to recognize signs through what your eyes encounter daily. A sudden shimmer on a glass, a moment where the sun catches your gaze, an image that lingers in your spirit longer than it should. These are divine breadcrumbs. Heaven's language is subtle, but your spirit knows how to interpret it. You are being guided through vision, not by accident, but by design. You see, there is a realm where light itself becomes a message, and your eyes, beloved chosen one, have been anointed to receive it. When your sight feels intense, when your gaze seems magnetized towards something, pause. Don't look away too quickly. For in that still moment, God is showing you something. Angels often whisper not into your ears, but through what catches your eyes. They move light, they shape perception, they direct your attention, and only those awake can perceive it. Many have eyes but do not see. But you have been set apart to perceive. Your eyes are gateways of revelation. Through them, heaven announces warnings, confirmations, and instructions. You may have felt your vision blur in prayer, or seen a shimmer when you worship. Those are signs of divine visitation. Your eyes are not malfunctioning. They are tuning to heaven's frequency. Chosen one, if this message has stirred your spirit, don't keep it silent. Like this message, share it so others who are awakening can find it too. Subscribe if you haven't, so you never miss another divine word. And in the comments, type 111 as a prophetic act that your spiritual sight is opening and heaven is confirming your alignment. Chosen one, the light that enters your eyes is not mere brightness, it is instruction. Every gleam you notice carries a whisper from heaven, guiding your steps. What others dismiss as illusion, you now discern as divine navigation. You are learning heaven's language through illumination. Each day, your perception strengthens. The veil that once blurred your understanding is lifting. You begin to see purpose in patterns, answers in reflections, and warnings in what feels random. The unseen is becoming visible, and the visible now speaks mysteries of the kingdom. Do not fear this awakening. It is not strange, it is sacred. The angels rejoice because your sight is aligning with divine timing. The more you trust what heaven reveals through your eyes, the clearer your path becomes. Keep your gaze sanctified. Stand firm, chosen one. You have entered the realm of holy vision. What your eyes now witness is preparation for greater revelation. Walk in this clarity, guard your focus, and never forget you are watched over, guided, and illuminated by the light of heaven. Chosen one. The world teaches that eyes are only for seeing the physical, but heaven knows otherwise. Your eyes are not simply organs, they are portals through which spirit perceives. The moment you began to sense the divine stirring behind your vision, something sacred was unlocked. Heaven opened a gate of awareness that few ever experience, and angels began to speak in the quiet language of perception. They do not always use words. Sometimes they use what you see, a shadow that moves differently, a light that flickers even when there is no source, a sudden urge to look in a certain direction. These are not random motions of your body, they are divine nudges from the realm unseen. The angels use the window of your sight to guide, to warn, to protect. You are not imagining these moments, you are discerning them. Many have walked blind through life, seeing but not perceiving. Yet your sight has purpose. Every glance has weight in the spirit. Heaven did not choose your eyes by accident. They were refined by trial, cleansed by tears, and trained by solitude. You have looked upon pain, betrayal, beauty, and glory, and through it all, your vision has been tempered into something eternal. The angels know this, and so they use it. There are times when your eyes suddenly feel heavy, as if carrying a message too deep for words. That is the weight of revelation resting on you. You may look into a place, a person, or even a mirror, and feel the whisper of heaven saying, "Pay attention." That pause in your spirit is not hesitation, it is alignment. The divine realm is trying to bring you into rhythm with heaven's movement. When angels speak through sight, it is not always through grand visions. Often they speak through the ordinary, a flicker of light on a leaf, a reflection on water, the way a stranger's eyes hold a story that touches you deeply. You are not seeing just objects or faces, you are seeing patterns of eternity woven into temporary forms. Heaven communicates subtly, because true perception belongs to those willing to look beyond the obvious. The eyes are the windows through which spirit both observes and releases energy. When you stare too long at darkness, your spirit dims. When you look upon light with purity, your soul brightens. Angels understand this exchange, which is why they guard what comes before your eyes. You have likely noticed it, how certain images disturb your peace while others strengthen your calm. That is no coincidence. Your eyes are a spiritual sensor, detecting frequencies of truth and deception alike. The world will say, "It's just your imagination." But heaven says, "It's revelation." Angels communicate through impressions, glimmers of understanding that touch your awareness before logic can explain them. When your eyes notice something and your spirit stirs, do not ignore it. That is an encoded message. The physical world reflects the spiritual realm. Your sight is the key that unlocks that reflection. When you begin to guard your vision, what you watch, what you read, what you allow yourself to focus on, you begin to cleanse the lens through which heaven sends messages. A pure gaze amplifies angelic communication. A distracted gaze dulls it. This is why your focus has been under attack. The enemy knows that if he can blind your perception with noise and chaos, you will miss the gentle whispers of heaven. Guard your eyes, beloved. They are not just yours, they are instruments of heaven's purpose. Every time you close them in prayer, they are washed anew. Every time you open them to see goodness, they align again with divine truth. The eyes of the chosen are sacred altars. Angels draw near to them, carrying insight and instruction for every step ahead. The Spirit spoke through the psalmist and revealed the mystery of perception in Psalm 119. Verse 18. Open my eyes, that I may behold wondrous things out of your law. That prayer is not only about scripture, it is about life itself. To behold wondrous things is to see beyond the veil of circumstance and glimpse the structure of heaven behind it. You have been chosen to see wonders in places others see waste, to find purpose where others see pain. Your eyes are bridges between realms. So when your sight feels different, when your eyes seem to shimmer with awareness, do not resist it. You are being trained to discern light and darkness, to recognize angelic presence in simple things. The angels will continue to teach you, not through fear but through familiarity, until seeing through heaven's eyes becomes natural to you. Chosen one, your perception will sharpen in silence. When the noise of the world fades, the soft language of angels becomes clear. They will train your sight to notice divine geometry in the smallest details around you. You will begin to recognize sacred order within chaos. Each glimpse, each spark, each reflection before your eyes will testify that heaven is near, shaping your understanding. What was once invisible will become undeniable revelation. Chosen one, when the light within you flickers, it is not weakness, it is communication. Every shimmer, every glow, every shift that dances before your eyes is heaven's coded way of saying, we are near. The angels are transmitting through illumination. The human mind calls it flashes, but the Spirit knows it as revelation. You have noticed at those moments when your vision seems to tremble, when brightness pulses even in stillness. It might happen during prayer, in quiet reflection, or when you're thinking of nothing at all. Suddenly, light seems alive. That is the movement of divine messengers around you. They bend light to reach you, because light is the oldest language of creation. Before words were spoken, there was light, and it still speaks. Sometimes the flicker comes as a gentle flash in your periphery. Sometimes it is a soft radiance resting on an object or person. Do not dismiss it as coincidence or fatigue. The angels are showing you alignment. They are revealing that what you are thinking in that exact moment matters to heaven. It is as if they underline your thought with a beam of divine confirmation. But not all flickers are confirmations. Some are warnings. When the light feels cold, sharp, or sudden, pause and pray. Ask, what are you showing me? Lord, you will feel clarity arise from within. Your eyes, beloved, are now conduits between heaven's brilliance and earth's shadow. The flicker you see is not the light changing, it is your awareness awakening. We find in the book of Psalms, chapter 36, verse 9, in your light we see light. This mystery runs deep. It means that true light is not what your eyes see, but what your spirit perceives through them. The angels often use that inner illumination to train your discernment. They will cause the natural light around you to respond to your spiritual sensitivity. This is why some days feel unusually bright or dim, even though nothing around you has changed. It is heaven testing your focus, teaching you to separate physical sight from spiritual vision. You must learn to observe without fear. When light shifts suddenly, do not panic or question your sanity. Instead, remember that heaven communicates through energy and awareness. Light is a carrier of divine presence, and when your spiritual frequency heightens, you begin to notice its patterns. These are not hallucinations, they are confirmations. There is a reason the prophets described visions as flashes of fire or lightning in the spirit. When divine messages come quickly, they strike like lightning, brief, intense, unforgettable. Your eyes, now awakened, are learning to interpret those flashes. Every time the light flickers, you are standing at the edge of revelation. Sometimes, the flicker will come right before a breakthrough, moments before news arrives. A prayer is answered, or a door opens. The angels use light to prepare you so that your spirit receives the blessing with awareness. They do not want you to stumble into miracles unaware. They want you to see them coming. Other times, light will dim slightly before a challenge approaches. It is not punishment, it is protection. The temporary dimming is heaven's way of slowing you down, telling you, do not rush. Something unseen is shifting. If you learn to read these signs, you will walk with greater peace because nothing will surprise you again. Chosen one, this is why heaven keeps calling your attention to your eyes. The flicker within is proof that your spirit is alive. When your inner lamp burns, darkness cannot hide its movements. Every time you notice that gentle pulse of light, whisper, I see you, Lord. That acknowledgement strengthens your connection. It tells the angels you are listening. And remember, light is never wasted. Even when your eyes are closed, the angels continue to work, illuminating your dreams, painting symbols across your mind. They are shaping your vision into a vessel of prophecy. Soon, you will not just see light, you will understand it. Comment I see below. That simple phrase declares that you recognize heaven's language. It is not just a statement, it is a prophetic act, an agreement that your spiritual sight is awakening fully. By writing it, you anchor what your eyes have begun to perceive. When you comment, I see, you are not writing simple words, you are making a declaration to heaven. That phrase is your spiritual signature, your way of saying, I am awake, aware, and ready to receive. The angels take notice when you do this, for they understand it as consent for divine communication to deepen within you. To say I see is to acknowledge that light has entered your understanding. It means you are no longer blinded by fear, confusion, or distraction. You are now choosing clarity over chaos, revelation over noise. Heaven responds to awareness. The moment you declare it, the spiritual veil thins, and greater insight begins to flow into your life. So when you type I see below, do it with reverence. Do it as a covenant act. Let it mean that your inner vision has awakened and your eyes have become vessels of divine perception forevermore. Chosen one. The unseen observers surround you more closely than you realize. You have never been alone, not once, not for a breath, not for a heartbeat. Every moment of your life has unfolded beneath the watchful presence of heaven's sentinels. They have walked beside you when you wept, guarded you while you slept, and whispered through intuition when danger drew near. The flickers you notice, the tingling behind your eyes, the sudden awareness of being watched, it is them, not to frighten you, but to remind you that you are protected. There is an order in the heavens, armies of light assigned to those marked by divine calling. You, beloved, are one of those under their charge. The moment you accepted truth, angels were commissioned to your name. Their watch is constant, but not intrusive. They study your journey with a holy attentiveness, ensuring that every step you take aligns with purpose. Your eyes sense them because your spirit recognizes the frequency of their presence. At times, you might catch movement at the edge of your vision. It may seem like a passing shadow or a shimmer that dissolves when you turn to look. That is not imagination. It is a signature of activity in the spirit. The angels do not always reveal their form, because your physical frame could not contain the magnitude of their light. Instead, they allow glimpses, brief reflections that touch your awareness long enough to assure you that heaven is near. These watchers are not idle. They record, they protect, they guide. Every tear you cry is noted. Every prayer you whisper is carried upward like incense. When you walk into danger unknowingly, they move circumstances to shield you. When your heart is too heavy to speak, they translate your silence into a language God understands. You are covered by a network of light so intricate that darkness must seek permission before approaching you. The Word of God speaks in the book of Psalms, chapter 91, verse 11. For he shall give his angels charge over you to keep you in all your ways. This is not poetic comfort, it is literal covenant. You have angelic company walking beside you through every hour of your existence. They stand like guardians at the gates of your destiny. Some of them have been with you since birth. Others appear for seasons of transition, only to depart when their mission concludes. But all are united under one purpose: to keep the will of heaven intact in your life. When you sense eyes upon you while alone, do not be afraid. The watchers are simply near, ensuring that you do not stray from the path written for you. Their gaze is not judgmental, it is reverent. They look upon you as one marked with light, a vessel entrusted with assignments of great consequence. Their observation is worship. They behold the work of God unfolding through you. Sometimes when you pray in solitude, the air thickens and the atmosphere seems to hum. That resonance is the sound of alignment between earth and heaven. It is the unseen observers drawing closer, forming a circle of protection around you. If you could see what stands beside you when you kneel in prayer, fear would never enter your heart again. But this awareness is not meant to make you proud or careless. To know that angels watch is to live with sacred responsibility. Their gaze reminds you that every action, every choice, every focus of your eyes carries eternal meaning. Heaven does not waste observation. They watch not because you are fragile, but because you are significant. You are part of a vast spiritual strategy. The watchers do not merely defend, they report victories, note obedience, and celebrate when you choose light over darkness. Every time you resist temptation, every time you forgive, every time you remain faithful, they mark it as triumph. You are not an unnoticed believer lost in a crowd. You are a chosen warrior under divine surveillance, protected by invisible witnesses who rejoice in your endurance, even in your darkest nights. When tears blur your vision and loneliness whispers lies, remember that you are surrounded. The silence you feel is not absence, it is reverence. The unseen are still there, still guarding, still marveling at the endurance God has placed within you. Your life, though hidden from the world's applause, is known in heaven's record. So, lift your eyes with confidence. You are being watched by love, not by fear. The angels move as guardians of destiny, adjusting paths, softening storms, and strengthening you when you falter. They see what you cannot yet understand, that every hardship has built the vision within your gaze. The watchers know the ending. They have seen your victory already written in light. Chosen one, even when your eyes close in sleep, the watchers remain. Their vigilance does not fade with darkness. Their light circles you through every unseen battle. They stand as silent witnesses of promise fulfilled. Every dawn they rejoice, for another day of your destiny unfolds exactly as heaven intended. You are never unguarded. Chosen one, there is something sacred about your tears. They are not weakness, nor are they random expressions of emotion, they are language. Each drop that falls from your eyes is a prayer your lips could not speak, a note in heaven's symphony written by pain and purified by surrender. The angels do not ignore your tears, they collect them as living testimony of endurance. Your tears have weight in the spirit. When one falls, it does not simply disappear into the ground, it becomes light. Heaven measures every tear, not to count your suffering, but to record your strength. Each time your eyes fill, heaven writes your story in eternal ink. The unseen world understands something we often forget: tears are the bridge between pain and purpose. They cleanse the lens of your sight so you can see clearly again. There have been nights when you wept quietly, wondering if God noticed. You felt alone, misunderstood, unseen. Yet in those very moments, angels drew near. They did not speak, because the language of tears is already understood in heaven. They knelt beside you, waiting for the moment your sorrow would shift into surrender. And when that moment came, they lifted your tears like pearls and carried them before the throne. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalm, chapter 56 and verse 8. You have kept count of my tossings, put my tears in your bottle. That verse is not poetic exaggeration, it is reality. Every time you cried thinking no one cared, heaven recorded it. Those tears became holy water in the archives of mercy. They are proof that you kept believing even when hope trembled. Chosen one, your tears have power to water the seeds of your next season. Every drop carries resurrection potential. Sometimes heaven allows your eyes to break so your heart can be healed. Tears soften the soil of the soul so that new vision can grow. What you see through tears is often the clearest glimpse of truth. When you cry, you are not falling apart. You are being refilled. Your tears are like rivers carving valleys that one day overflow with light. The angels stand in awe of how a human heart can endure so much and still choose love. That endurance makes you radiant. It makes your eyes luminous with compassion that frightens darkness itself. Your tears are not just yours, they belong to the collective cry of every chosen one rising in this generation. Together, your tears form a river of restoration flowing across the earth. Each act of kindness, each prayer for others, each moment you choose forgiveness becomes another drop in that divine current. And now, beloved, I speak to your heart gently. If this message has touched you, if you have felt heaven speak through it, know that it was made through the same process of tears and light. Every word here is born from the same surrender you are learning. When you like this message, it's as if you place a small candle beside the river, one more flame to keep hope burning for another soul. When you share, you extend that river further, letting your light find someone still walking through their storm. When you subscribe, it is like building a bridge of faith, one that lets future words of healing find their way easily to you again. And if your heart ever feels led to donate, think of it not as giving away, but as pouring a few drops from your well into the river that carries this light forward. These are not requirements. They are reflections of gratitude. Each act, however small, becomes part of the living current that moves heaven's message across the earth. If you cannot give, your listening is already sacred. If you can, your offering becomes part of the song of restoration heaven sings over your life. Both are holy, both are needed. So, chosen one, continue to walk with eyes that see, hearts that feel, and hands that give freely. When you support what nourishes your soul, you are building unseen altars of light. You are telling heaven, "Let my tears become rivers that refresh others." And know this: every tear you have cried has already watered a garden you have yet to walk through. Every act of kindness you show, every small donation, every share, every gesture of support is another flower blooming in that garden. When you finally step into it, you will see the beauty of everything you gave, multiplied 100-fold. Your tears built something eternal. Your light sustains it. And together, they form a testimony that cannot be erased. Your giving, whether through words, prayer, or light, is never forgotten. Heaven records every spark of generosity as fragrance rising from earth, proof that love still lives within humanity. So walk gently, chosen one. Every seed you release, every candle, every drop returns multiplied in grace. The river you've nourished will one day carry blessings back to you. Chosen one, you have begun to notice colors moving differently around you. Shades once ordinary now seem alive, charged with meaning. A blue sky feels deeper. Gold sunlight hums with warmth. Crimson carries weight. These are not coincidences, these are signals. The angels are communicating through color. Each hue before your eyes is a divine symbol, marking what season of spirit you are walking through. When heaven paints your surroundings, it does not do so randomly. The tones that appear before you are part of a living language written in light. The way a color captures your gaze is not mere aesthetic, it is instruction. The angels use color as an emotional compass, guiding your heart toward what must heal, what must release, and what must rise. Sometimes you will notice pure white shining brighter than usual. That is heaven reminding you of cleansing renewal of thought and purity of intent. When the color white dominates your awareness, it means something is being washed, cleared, or completed. You are standing in a place of restoration. Other times, you will see gold or amber glow unexpectedly, perhaps in the corner of a room or reflected off something simple. That is not chance, it is confirmation. Gold represents divine favor, the warmth of answered prayer. It means your faith has produced fruit, even if the harvest is still unseen. When violet or indigo surfaces repeatedly on objects, clothing, light, or even in dreams, it signals spiritual authority. It means your inner vision is maturing, that heaven is trusting you with deeper understanding. The angels often surround prophets with violet light when revelation is about to be delivered. If this color visits your gaze, pause and listen inwardly. Something sacred is about to unfold. There are also moments when gray or shadowy hues feel heavier around you. Do not fear them. Heaven is not warning you of doom, but inviting you into reflection. These tones ask, what must you release? They remind you that growth sometimes requires stillness, that divine silence is a color too, And when you notice sudden warmth, bright reds, burning oranges, it means passion is awakening again. The angels use such colors to stir your courage, to reignite dreams that fatigue tried to bury. These shades are heaven's way of saying, live boldly. You are still needed here. The Spirit spoke through the Apostle John in Revelation, chapter 4, verse 3. Around the throne was a rainbow that had the appearance of an emerald. That rainbow, shimmering like living stone, is not only a throne room scene, it is a promise that color itself is covenant. The light that reaches your eyes carries memory of creation. It whispers. The same God who spoke through color then speaks through it now. Chosen one, do not rush past beauty. When color stops you mid-step, when a hue feels louder than usual, that is heaven pressing pause. Every shade you notice carries its own vibration. The angels adjust these frequencies around you to balance your inner world. When your spirit feels restless, they soften your surroundings with peace-toned light. When you lose hope, they brighten the horizon so that faith stirs again. You are not simply seeing, you are being spoken to. The angels have found a way to reach you without sound to touch your spirit through the visible world. The more you pay attention, the clearer this language becomes. Keep a record of what colors visit you often. You will begin to see patterns of personal dialogue between heaven and your eyes. There will be times when you wake and the air seems tinted differently. That is because your soul has shifted dimensions in the night. The colors of dawn reveal what kind of day your spirit will walk through. Light blue for calm, golden blush for favor, violet dawn for wisdom. These are signs written not in ink, but in radiance. And when storms darken your world, remember the rainbow still exists above the clouds. Light never leaves. It only hides to teach patience. Even in gray, God is present, painting quietly behind the veil. Chosen one, your sensitivity is a gift. You see what others overlook. You notice the brushstrokes of heaven across ordinary days. That awareness is your proof of connection. Continue to let your eyes read the language of color, and you will never again feel lost in the noise of this world. Now, to anchor this message into your spirit, take a small prophetic step. Comment 333 below. Let that number symbolize Trinity, mind, body, and spirit in alignment with heaven's spectrum of light. When you write it, you are declaring that your perception is no longer random, it is redeemed. You are saying, my eyes, my sight, my understanding are now tuned to divine color. When you comment 333, you are not typing numbers. You are proclaiming unity with heaven's design. It means your inner sight, emotions, and actions now move in divine rhythm. That single act whispers to angels, I am awake to color, to meaning, to light. It anchors your awareness and invites heaven to continue teaching through the hues around you. Chosen one, there are moments when time itself seems to pause. You glance at something small, a feather, a word, a shadow, a clock, and it refuses to let you go. The world slows, and for a second, silence hums around you. That is not accident. That is divine interruption. Heaven is placing its finger upon your timeline, holding a single frame still so revelation can be written upon it. These pauses are not coincidences, they are invitations. You live in a world of constant movement, where everything rushes forward and the sacred often slips unseen. Yet heaven, knowing your heart, occasionally stills your steps. It causes your eyes to rest on one detail, an object, a number, a face, because hidden within that moment is instruction. The angels freeze the flow of time so your awareness can catch what would otherwise pass by unseen. Have you ever felt that instant where you sense, I must remember this? That inner pull is spiritual gravity. God has paused the world around you to reveal alignment. The pause means, look again. There is more here than you think. It might happen in nature, the sway of a branch, the flicker of sunlight through glass, or in human moments, a stranger's glance that feels familiar, a child's laughter that stirs ancient peace. These are heaven's bookmarks placed in your day. When this divine pause occurs, everything in your spirit feels magnified. Sounds soften, vision sharpens, and you sense a holy weight pressing gently upon the moment. That is heaven entering your now. The angels use these seconds to transfer messages too delicate for noise. You may not hear words, but your soul understands something sacred just passed through me. According to what is revealed in the book of Psalms, chapter 46, verse 10, be still and know that I am God. That command is more than advice, it is technology of the Spirit. Stillness is the key that unlocks revelation. When you become still enough to notice the pause, your inner eyes open wider than your physical ones. Heaven has always spoken in silence. Angels communicate most clearly not in thunder but in the space between breaths. These moments are rare because they require your full attention. They will not fight for it. Heaven never shouts. Instead, it waits for awareness. The divine pause is heaven's way of testing if you are listening. Those who rush miss it. Those who linger receive it. When your eyes linger, heaven begins to speak. Imagine a conductor pausing before the final note of a symphony, the silence thick with expectancy. That is what happens spiritually when heaven pauses your moment. The angels hold their breath, and creation leans closer, waiting for your realization. In that quiet, answers arrive like whispers wrapped in peace. Do not confuse stillness with emptiness. The pause is full of presence. It is where energy reorganizes itself around your destiny. Each divine stillness is a reset, a chance for heaven to realign your path, to heal distortion before it becomes disaster. That is why, after such moments, you often feel lighter, clearer, renewed. The pause cleanses confusion. There are layers to this sacred stillness. Sometimes the pause comes as a delay. You expected progress, but heaven halted you. Do not mistake that for punishment. The angels might be holding back one step so that another can align. Delay in divine timing is protection, not neglect. When God pauses your movement, He is adjusting the scenery ahead. At other times, the pause appears inside your mind. A thought stops midstream. A realization blossoms, a memory replays with new meaning. That is an internal visitation. Heaven speaks through reflection too. Each flash of understanding in stillness is an angelic whisper saying, "This is why it happened. Now see it through my eyes." If you learn to recognize these pauses, life transforms. You no longer fight delays. You begin to honor them. You no longer fear silence. You start to listen within it. You understand that each still moment is a sacred classroom. Heaven teaches best when time holds its breath. So the next time something catches your gaze and refuses to release it, stop. Let that moment unfold. Look again. Breathe slowly. Ask, "What are you showing me?" Lord, and wait. You will feel clarity rise like dawn within you. The divine pause is heaven's signature upon your timeline, a reminder that you are not walking through chaos, but choreography. Even when nothing moves, everything is being arranged. Be still, chosen one. Not all motion is progress, and not all silence is absence. Some of heaven's loudest instructions arrive wrapped in quiet light. In the pause, heaven rewrites what haste once blurred. Each heartbeat becomes an echo of divine timing, reminding you that what seems delayed is often just being perfected behind unseen doors. So linger in stillness, beloved. Let patience become your praise. For in every holy pause, angels carve direction, wisdom, and protection into the silence surrounding your destiny. Chosen one, your eyes are not only for seeing beauty, they are also battlegrounds. Every day, invisible forces contend for what you allow to enter through them. Light and darkness both understand the power of vision. For whatever captures your sight eventually commands your soul. Your eyes are the gatekeepers of your destiny. That is why so many distractions appear before you. They are not harmless. They are strategic. Darkness knows it cannot destroy a chosen one easily, so it seeks to dull you. It tries to pollute the lens through which you see. If it can distort your focus, it can drain your faith. When you begin to see only chaos, fear, or disappointment, your spiritual sight weakens. Heaven calls you to guard what you gaze upon. Not everything that shines is light, and not all beauty is holy. Every image, every word, every reflection carries spiritual energy. Some nourish, others drain. Angels guard what surrounds you, but you must guard what you choose to behold. Your vision is sacred currency in the unseen realm. Whatever you continually watch, you empower. If you keep your eyes on fear, fear grows. If you fix them on truth, light expands. According to what is revealed in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verse 8, the eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. This ancient wisdom exposes humanity's hunger for more light, more beauty, more wonder, and yet it warns us that insatiable vision can become a trap. Not all curiosity is divine. The more you look at emptiness, the more it consumes you. But when you turn your gaze toward heaven, satisfaction returns, for light fulfills where shadows deceive. Chosen one, understand that your sight is influence. The enemy works subtly, not always through darkness, but through distortion. It distracts you with too much information, endless scrolling, flashing images designed to occupy your gaze so revelation cannot enter. The goal is not your entertainment, it is your exhaustion. A weary eye becomes a closed one, and a closed eye cannot see truth. This is why heaven trains your sight. Angels help you sense when your attention drifts toward what dims your soul. That sudden discomfort you feel while watching or reading something, it is not guilt. It is warning. Your spirit recognizes contamination before your mind does. When you obey that inner check and turn away, light strengthens within you. Every time you protect your vision, your discernment sharpens. Think of your eyes as altars of light. What you place upon them becomes worship. If you gaze upon purity, you are honoring the Creator. If you fix upon deceit, you are offering attention to the counterfeit. The enemy has always coveted the gaze of the chosen because the gaze carries creative power. What you behold, you become. When you lift your eyes to the heavens, clarity flows. When you stare too long into noise, confusion multiplies. This is spiritual law. That is why God often invites His servants to look up to the stars, the mountains, the clouds, because upward vision resets alignment. It reminds you where your help truly comes from. There are moments when warfare manifests as distraction. You sit down to pray, yet 1,000 trivial things suddenly demand attention. That is not coincidence. It is interference. Darkness trembles when you focus, so it throws glitter before your eyes, hoping you will chase the meaningless. Resist gently but firmly. Refuse to let temporary images steal your eternal sight. When your gaze is holy, even simple things become revelation. A candle flame becomes a sermon. A sunrise becomes prophecy. The eyes of a child remind you of purity. The ocean reminds you of endless grace. Your perception determines your experience. Heaven designed your sight to translate glory out of the ordinary. So when darkness whispers, look here, turn instead toward light. When fear flashes its images before you, answer by fixing your eyes on peace. Let your gaze become prayer. Each time you choose light consciously, you win a battle unseen by men but celebrated by angels. You are not powerless. You are a warrior of vision. The light within your eyes is both shield and sword. Every image you reject strengthens heaven's hold over your heart. Every moment you look through love instead of judgment blinds darkness a little more. Guard your eyes, beloved, for in them dwell the blueprints of heaven and the reflection of God's glory. You are seen by angels, guided by light, and covered by grace every time your gaze chooses holiness over harm. When your vision grows weary, close your eyes and breathe light inward. Imagine the angels gently cleansing the dust of distraction from your sight until clarity returns, and your gaze becomes a pure mirror reflecting only what heaven desires you to see. Remember, chosen one, your eyes are sanctuaries of awareness. Protect them as you would holy ground. Every glance offered to truth strengthens your connection to the divine current flowing through creation, teaching you daily that seeing rightly is an act of worship itself. Chosen one, there are moments when your reflection startles you not because of fear, but because something within it feels alive. You catch your own eyes in a mirror, and for a heartbeat, you see more than a face. You see movement behind your gaze, a depth that was not there before. That moment is sacred. Heaven is using your reflection as a teaching ground. Mirrors and dreams are holy tools, used by angels to show you what cannot be spoken aloud. When you stare into your reflection and feel that pulse of awareness, it is not vanity, it is visitation. The spirit within you is conversing with light itself. Heaven uses the mirror not to reveal your flaws, but to remind you that within your human form dwells divine fire. At times, your eyes may seem to look back at you differently, wiser, more ancient, almost knowing. Do not be unsettled. That is your spiritual self recognizing itself in flesh. It is the eternal saying to the temporal, I am still here. You are not two beings, you are one creation, seen through both heaven's sight and human eyes. Mirrors are thin places between realms. They reflect what is physical but echo what is unseen. When angels wish to confirm identity or awaken memory, they often guide your attention toward reflection glass, water, metal, even dream imagery. Each surface that returns your image is a canvas for divine conversation. The apostle wrote in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 13, verse 12, Now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. These words are not only about eternity, they are about awakening now. The mirror shows a dim version of your heavenly form, but every time you look with faith instead of doubt, that reflection grows clearer. You are gradually recognizing the true you, the you that existed before pain, before fear, before forgetting. Dreams also serve as mirrors. When you see eyes, faces, or rooms that feel familiar yet strange, heaven is reflecting parts of your spirit back to you. The angels use symbols so your soul can interpret truth without the interference of logic. A clear dream is not fantasy, it is feedback from the divine realm. When you wake with a vivid image lingering in your mind, ask softly, what are you showing me? Lord, sometimes it is reassurance, sometimes correction, sometimes simple recognition. Heaven reminding you that your essence still glows even in confusion. Mirrors and dreams teach humility. They reveal how little we truly see, yet how much more we are meant to perceive. The more you trust what heaven shows you in reflection, the more your life aligns with purpose. Because when your inner and outer images unite, you become a vessel of clarity. What you see and who you are finally match. Chosen one, never rush past your reflection. Look long enough to meet your own eyes. Within them burns history, assignment, and an unbroken promise. The angels stand silently behind that gaze, waiting for you to recognize that their light is already within you. If tears rise when you look upon yourself, let them. They are not of sorrow, but of remembrance. Your soul weeps because it recognizes home. Every time you see your reflection and whisper gratitude, heaven rejoices. You are agreeing with divine truth. You were never lost, only learning to see again. Your mirror is not an enemy of vanity. It is a companion of growth. Treat it as a prophetic window. When you gaze upon yourself through love, you cleanse the distortions that the world has placed upon your identity. Your reflection begins to glow differently because heaven mirrors back what you believe. Now, beloved, as you receive this truth, seal it with a small act of recognition. Comment, "I reflect." Those two words are a sacred declaration, not just an action. By writing them, you affirm, "I see myself as heaven sees me. I recognize divine light in my reflection." The angels take note when you do it becomes your signature of awakening. When you comment, "I reflect," you are not simply repeating words, you are acknowledging the sacred truth that your reflection is not accidental. It is an altar where spirit meets form, where heaven reminds earth of its divine origin. That simple act turns your gaze into worship. By declaring, "I reflect," you agree with what God already sees in you: purity, resilience, and light. It becomes your covenant phrase, confirming that you no longer look into mirrors with shame or doubt, but with recognition. Angels witness that declaration and mark it as the moment your perception shifts from self-critique to divine remembrance. Each time you write, "I reflect," heaven reads it as surrender and celebration combined. It tells the universe, "I am aware, I am luminous, I am becoming who I was created to be." The words echo into your tomorrow, shaping how you see everything, including yourself, as radiant proof of God's craftsmanship. Chosen one, you have met the eyes of others that seemed to speak before words did. Some glances carried comfort like sunlight on tired skin. Others chilled the soul with quiet warning. You felt it before they ever spoke, the energy moving behind the gaze. That is no coincidence. Heaven often communicates through the eyes of others, using their presence as mirrors, messengers, and sometimes as lessons. When a stranger's gaze softens you unexpectedly, it is not random kindness, it is divine reflection. Angels borrow human eyes to remind you that love still breathes in the world. When you feel seen without explanation, heaven is reaching through another person's vision to heal something invisible in you. That warmth you feel is not emotion, it is alignment. But there are also eyes that unsettle, that pierce or drain, and you sense darkness behind them. These moments, too, are not coincidence. The same sensitivity that allows you to feel peace also allows you to detect deception. You are not paranoid, you are perceptive. Heaven equipped your spirit with discernment so that your compassion would remain protected. According to Scripture in the first book of Samuel, chapter 16, verse 7, "Man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart." This truth is your compass. While the world reads faces, heaven reads essence. And yet, sometimes heaven allows you glimpses of that essence through the eyes of others. When someone's gaze feels heavy, you are sensing the condition of their spirit. When their eyes sparkle, you are witnessing the overflow of their inner light. Every connection is communication, every look, an exchange. There will be people whose eyes linger on you longer than reason allows. You will feel their observation in your bones. Do not fear it, simply discern it. Sometimes their spirit recognizes your light before their mind understands why. The glow within you attracts awareness. It also stirs resistance. Light always awakens response in darkness. The key is not to mirror their energy, but to stay anchored in peace. Your eyes, chosen one, are like living lanterns. The world sees the flame but cannot touch its source. When you look upon others with compassion, heaven pours oil into that flame, making your presence a beacon of safety. You are not just seeing, you are transmitting peace. Every act of eye contact is an invitation to transfer energy. That is why your kindness heals silently. You may never realize how your gentle look steadies someone's collapsing faith. You simply live, see, and shine, and heaven multiplies that light through others. And now, beloved, if what you have read stirs something in you, let your heart respond in gratitude, not obligation. When you like this message, imagine it as lighting another candle beside yours. Each small flame brightens the path for someone wandering in the same questions you once carried. When you share, picture it as releasing a dove into the open sky, a message of peace that will land exactly where it is needed. The angels guide its flight. You only have to open your hands. When you subscribe, think of it as joining a circle of light bearers, souls who listen, learn, and rise together. Subscribing is not about following, it's about staying near the fire that keeps your vision warm. And if your heart ever whispers that you'd like to donate, let it be like offering a cup of water into a flowing river. It is not payment, it is partnership. Your giving joins the current that carries these words to places your feet may never reach. Every offering, no matter how small, becomes a seed that heaven waters in ways unseen. Remember, generosity is not measured by amount but by sincerity. Even the smallest act done with love echoes loudly in eternity. To give is to agree with the message, to say, I want this light to reach someone else. If you cannot give, your listening is enough. Your heart's openness sustains this message as powerfully as any gift. Heaven counts compassion as currency. Chosen one, never underestimate the silent ministry of your eyes. When you look upon others with gentleness, when you choose understanding over judgment, you become a reflection of heaven's gaze upon humanity. The same light that healed you begins to flow outward. You may never see its full effect, but the angels do, and they record every act of quiet kindness as a victory for light. You are not just a receiver of vision, you are a giver of it. Each time you offer compassion, you lend others your sight until they can find their own again. So walk among people with steady eyes, seeing not their flaws but their possibilities. Let your gaze be mercy made visible, and may every person who meets your eyes feel, even for a moment, that heaven still watches with love. Chosen one, keep shining through your gaze. Each look of compassion you offer becomes a thread of light woven into the world's tapestry, reminding creation that love still watches, still listens, still restores. Chosen one, have you ever been caught in a sudden brightness that almost overwhelmed your senses? A flash of light so intense it felt as though heaven itself had brushed past you. Perhaps it came through sunlight breaking the clouds, or a sudden glare across glass, or even the invisible shimmer that dances when you pray. These moments are not illusions, they are intersections of realms. The blinding light is heaven's language of elevation. When divine energy increases around you, your human sight struggles to contain it. That dizziness, that blurred vision, that heartbeat quickening when brilliance strikes it is your soul adjusting to a higher frequency. You are perceiving something your body cannot yet translate. Do not be afraid of it, this is transformation. The story of Saul on the road to Damascus speaks to this mystery. The man was engulfed by light so strong it dropped him to the ground, not as punishment, but as initiation. The glare of heaven is not sent to destroy, but to recalibrate. When divine light pierces human sight, it rearranges perception, burns away distortion, and plants new awareness. We find in the book of Acts, chapter 26, verse 13, "At midday, O king, I saw on the way a light from heaven brighter than the sun. That same radiance visits you, not in the same measure but with the same purpose to awaken." When you feel the brightness pressing through your eyes, it is not to blind you, but to mark you. The angels increase illumination when your understanding is ready to expand, the physical sensation blurring. Heat. Brilliance is a side effect of spiritual elevation. Sometimes this light comes as an external encounter, a sudden gleam that passes your eyes. At other times, it erupts inwardly, a glow felt behind closed lids. Either way, it signals transformation. Heaven is rewiring the way you see, removing filters that once limited your faith. The world grows sharper afterward because you are beginning to perceive both realms at once, the visible and the eternal overlapping. The brightness you experience also cleanses. Light is heaven's fire. It burns gently but thoroughly, removing spiritual residue gathered from exposure to negativity or fear. After such moments, you often feel drained yet peaceful, as though a deep cleansing has occurred. You may even find yourself unable to explain why tears rise unbidden. That is release your spirit shedding what can no longer coexist with illumination. There will be days when you feel almost uncomfortable in ordinary light, your senses heightened. This sensitivity is not fragility, it is refinement. Heaven is teaching you to discern the difference between natural brightness and divine brilliance. In time, you will learn to recognize the subtle tone of each kind. Do not hide from the holy glare. Many retreat when light becomes too intense, fearing exposure. But light only reveals what is meant to be healed. When you welcome it, even your shadows become sacred, transformed into testimonies of grace. The angels are not trying to overwhelm you, they are expanding your sight until your inner and outer vision align. You may notice the world appearing different afterward, colors vivid, air shimmering, faces glowing softly. This is not imagination. The light that entered you begins to project outward, tinting the world with heaven's palette. You are no longer seeing light upon things. You are seeing things within light. At times, you will sense fatigue after these experiences. That is normal. The body, being mortal, must rest after contact with divine radiance. Drink water, breathe deeply, sit in quiet. Rest allows revelation to settle without fracturing you. Heaven's energy is pure and heavy, it demands space. When you next encounter that blinding brilliance, close your eyes and whisper gratitude. The light is not an intruder. It is inheritance. It is heaven confirming that you are ready for more clarity. Even Moses, after descending the mountain, carried light upon his skin, and so do you, though unseen. Chosen one, learn to walk with this glow gently. You carry the reflection of divine glory in your eyes now. The brightness that once startled you becomes guidance, showing you the path forward even in dark places. When others notice something luminous in you and cannot explain it, smile. That shimmer is evidence that you have seen heaven and lived to tell its story. That radiance now woven into your gaze is heaven's signature upon you. It cannot be dimmed by time or trouble. Every glance you offer carries silent healing, restoring sight to those lost in shadow. You are walking light, beloved. Every step releases brightness into weary spaces. Every word mirrors eternity's warmth. The world may not understand, yet darkness recognizes you and trembles quietly. Remember, this glow is not yours to possess, but to pour. The more freely you shine, the stronger your clarity becomes. You were made to illuminate, not to conceal. Chosen one, never hide the light now entrusted to your eyes. Let it move gently through your life, guiding others home through the glow only heaven could place within you. Chosen one, there is a sacred mystery in the way heaven responds to tears that fall without reason. You have known those moments when emotion rises suddenly, unprovoked, and your eyes release what your words cannot contain. You may have tried to wipe them quickly, embarrassed or unsure, but the angels whisper, "Do not hide this. It is holy." There are tears born of sorrow, and there are tears born of encounter. The second kind are heaven's language, liquid light moving through your eyes to release the weight your heart no longer needs to carry. When a single tear falls uninvited, heaven calls it a covenant moment. It means something within you has shifted. It is as if the veil thins and eternity brushes your soul for a breath. The psalmist spoke of such sacred release in the book of Psalms, chapter 126, verse 5. "Those who sow with tears shall reap with shouts of joy." That promise is more than comfort, it is prophecy. Every tear that falls in faith plants a seed in heaven's soil. Those tears do not vanish. They become harvests of understanding, peace, and strength. You may weep today, but your tears are building the atmosphere of tomorrow's miracles. Sometimes, your tear is an intercession you do not recognize. You cry without knowing why because your spirit senses what your mind cannot yet grasp. Heaven may be releasing someone else through your compassion. Your tear becomes a bridge, carrying grace where it is needed. Chosen one, your weeping is not weakness, it is worship. The angels bend close when you cry, collecting each drop like diamonds for the altar of remembrance. They do not pity you, they honor you. Tears mean that your heart is still soft enough to feel God's movement. There will be seasons when you cannot explain the flood inside you. You may be reading, praying, even listening to silence, and suddenly emotion wells up. That is heaven washing your inner lens. Do not rush to stop it. Let it flow. Tears are heaven's way of rewriting pain into wisdom. You will notice, after crying without reason, that clarity follows. The air feels lighter, your vision sharper. That is because tears clear spiritual dust from the eyes of the soul. They open the space for revelation. What felt confusing before begins to make sense. The path that was hidden becomes visible again. Tears are also portals of transformation. They mark endings and beginnings, death and rebirth. When a tear falls, something dies, an old belief, a wound, a memory, and something else rises in its place. That's why you often feel peace afterward, even if circumstances remain unchanged. The world might call it emotional release, but heaven calls it resurrection. The angels sometimes move you to tears to protect you. When you hold too much inside, tears become the safest escape route for your spirit. They carry out the poison of disappointment, releasing what would otherwise weigh your vision down. Each tear is a messenger saying, "You are still alive, you still care." Beloved, there is even beauty in shared tears. When two souls cry together, whether in grief, worship, or compassion, heaven witnesses unity in its purest form. Those moments echo in eternity. They weave connections stronger than words ever could. So when tears fall again, do not be ashamed. Lift your face toward light and whisper thanks. You are participating in divine cleansing. You are speaking in the oldest language of love. Heaven hears every drop as a word of trust. To anchor this truth, let your tears become testimony. Comment 111 below. That number is sacred. It represents alignment of body, soul, and spirit under one divine purpose. When you type 111, you are declaring, "I am in oneness with heaven's healing." My tears are transforming into clarity, my sorrow into light. Every person who writes 111 becomes part of a river of restoration flowing across the earth. Heaven reads it as agreement, proof that even in brokenness, unity with divine purpose has been restored. When you comment 111, you are not just responding, you are participating in divine alignment. The three ones stand side by side as a symbol of unity, the mind recognizing truth, the heart surrendering to it, and the spirit carrying it forward. Together, they form a living agreement between you and heaven. Writing 111 is a prophetic act. It tells heaven, I am aligned. I no longer resist the healing that comes through my tears. It marks a turning point when pain no longer owns you but teaches you. The angels see this number and record it as obedience to transformation. Each one is a pillar of strength, one for faith, one for purpose, and one for light. When you place them together, you are building a spiritual gate through which revelation flows freely. This is not numerology, it is symbolism, a language of awareness that heaven honors when spoken in sincerity. So when you type 111, do it slowly, intentionally, let your fingers become instruments of declaration. You are saying to God, I am whole, I am listening, I am ready. That small action on earth becomes a mighty echo in heaven's halls. Chosen one. There are times when your eyes grow weary, not from lack of sleep, but from the weight of what they have seen. The world can be heavy for those who see deeply. You have witnessed pain others overlook, sensed spiritual currents they ignore. It is not weakness that makes you tired, it is sensitivity. The light that burns within you also demands rest. When your vision begins to blur, when colors feel muted, when the world's noise becomes too loud, heaven is sending a gentle signal. Pause. Even warriors of light must close their eyes sometimes to remember where their strength truly comes from. Your spirit was not designed for constant battle. It was built for rhythm, movement, and stillness, giving and receiving, seeing and resting. Jesus himself often withdrew from crowds to pray in solitude. He understood what many forget, that divine sight must be replenished through communion, not constant activity. Your fatigue does not mean you are failing. It means heaven is calling you to recalibrate. According to the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 11, verse 28. Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. That promise is the heartbeat of renewal. When your eyes grow heavy with tears, when your soul aches with empathy, the Lord invites you into sacred stillness. Rest is not avoidance, it is alignment. It restores clarity to the lens through which you see. Without rest, even light becomes blinding. Chosen one. Spiritual fatigue often comes disguised as frustration. You may feel disconnected, unable to sense heaven as sharply as before. Do not panic, nothing is lost. You are simply in the valley between revelations. The angels cover you in quietness so your spirit can digest what it has received. When revelation comes too fast, it overwhelms. So heaven slows the flow, letting your vision rest in silence until strength returns. In these moments, take care of your physical eyes too. Step outside and let natural light touch them gently. Look at trees, water, open sky. Nature is heaven's balm for weary sight. The same God who created galaxies designed color, shadow, and motion to restore you. Sometimes healing is not found in prayer alone, but in presence, in letting creation reteach you peace. You may feel guilty resting while others move, but remember, even angels rotate between action and adoration. Ceaseless motion drains purpose of purity. Rest is not retreat, it is worship through trust. It says, I believe God is still working even when I am still. The weariness you feel is not punishment. It is proof of depth. Only those who love greatly can grow tired from caring. When the world seems too dark, your exhaustion is compassion echoing through your body. Honor it. Sit in silence and let heaven hold you. You do not always need to see to believe. Sometimes you must simply be. There is beauty in closed eyes, in stillness, your inner vision awakens. What you cannot see outwardly begins to bloom within. Many of the greatest revelations are received in darkness because darkness sharpens light. When your outer eyes rest, the inner eyes are freed to see eternal truths too bright for daylight. You will notice after rest that your sight returns renewed. The colors seem alive again, your discernment clearer, your patience deeper. This is the fruit of stillness. Heaven never wastes the pauses, it fills them with quiet strengthening. Chosen one, do not measure your worth by how much you see or do. Vision is not meant to be constant strain, it is a flow. Sometimes the river runs fast, sometimes it pools in silence. Both are necessary. There will come a day when you understand that fatigue was never failure, it was invitation. Every time heaven dims your vision for a while, it is preparing to show you something greater. What feels like emptiness is actually gestation. Something luminous is forming beyond your sight, waiting for your rest to make room for revelation. So close your eyes without fear. Sleep, pray, breathe. Let the angels stand guard while your soul resets. You are not stepping away from purpose, you are stepping back into balance. When you wake, your eyes will hold a new calm, a deeper glow. You will look upon the world again and recognize that even in stillness, heaven was moving. Rest, beloved, is the secret rhythm of power. Every pause you honor becomes a doorway through which strength quietly returns. Heaven breathes through your stillness, tuning your spirit to the cadence of divine peace. In those gentle moments, angels realign what exhaustion scattered. They mend unseen fractures, soften heavy memories, and refill the well of compassion within your heart. The silence you keep is not empty. It hums with purpose. When you rise again, your sight will no longer tremble. It will be anchored, clear, and calm. You will see not only what is before you, but what is becoming, and that awareness will move through you like sunlight after rain. Chosen one, something sacred begins to unfold when the eyes of your spirit awaken fully. The world does not change overnight, but how you see it does. The same streets, the same sky, the same faces all begin to carry layers of meaning you had not noticed before. This is not imagination, it is revelation. Your prophetic sight is awakening. It often begins quietly, almost shyly. You sense patterns in coincidence, purpose in timing, whispers between events that once seemed disconnected. The veil that once separated the spiritual and the physical begins to thin, and you start to perceive that everything is woven together by unseen threads. This is the season of prophetic vision. Heaven begins to teach you how to read the language of alignment, how certain moments, phrases, and even pauses are orchestrated messages. What used to seem random now glows with intention. The divine narrative, written across your ordinary life, starts revealing itself line by line. You may notice the atmosphere changing when you enter a room. You might feel heaviness that was not there before, or peace that seems to radiate from invisible hands. This sensitivity is not strangeness. It is spiritual maturity. Heaven is expanding your discernment so you can read environments the way prophets read scrolls. The prophet Jeremiah once described this awakening, saying that the word of the Lord was placed within him like fire shut up in his bones. That fire burns in you now, not to consume, but to illuminate. Prophetic eyes carry light that uncovers truth hidden beneath appearances, as Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 13, verse 16. Blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. This blessing is not limited to ancient disciples. It belongs to every soul whose perception has been purified through faith and endurance. Heaven entrusts deeper sight to those who have proven they will use it with compassion, not pride. Prophetic vision is not about predicting the future. It is about seeing truth beneath the surface. It allows you to perceive motives, feel spiritual temperature, and recognize divine orchestration even in chaos. You begin to sense when something is about to shift long before it becomes visible. Your spirit hears footsteps approaching destiny. Sometimes the vision will come as imagery, brief flashes behind closed eyes, symbols that carry instruction. Other times it comes through knowing an inner certainty that needs no explanation. You simply know. The angels often deliver messages through such impressions because they bypass doubt. You will learn to trust these inner visions when they carry peace. For peace is heaven's signature. With prophetic sight also comes responsibility. What you perceive is not always meant to be spoken. Some visions are prayers in disguise. Heaven reveals only what can be handled with humility. If pride enters, clarity leaves. The light within your eyes dims when you use it for control instead of compassion. Guard the purity of your vision as you would guard your own breath. When you begin to see what others cannot, isolation may follow. People may misunderstand your silence, mistaking it for distance. Yet that solitude is sacred. Heaven often shields new prophets from noise until they learn to interpret divine signals clearly. Do not rush to share what you see. Revelation matures in silence before it bears fruit in speech. At times, prophetic sight will overwhelm you. You may sense both joy and sorrow simultaneously, seeing light in one person and shadow in another, hope in one event and warning in the next. The duality of perception is heavy, but necessary. True vision holds both mercy and truth without losing balance. When confusion comes, return to prayer. Ask not, "What does this mean?" but rather, "What do you want me to do with what I see?" Heaven gives vision not for entertainment, but for guidance. Sometimes the command will be simple: pray, wait, forgive, or rest. Each response becomes a thread that strengthens your connection to divine counsel. And when heaven shows you glimpses of coming peace, moments of restoration, reconciliation, or breakthrough, let joy rise within you. These previews are not fantasies. They are promises shown ahead of time to sustain faith during waiting. Your prophetic eyes are proof that heaven still trusts humanity to carry light. Through them, the invisible speaks. Through them, the future begins to shape the present. You are not imagining this calling. You are embodying it. Chosen one, walk gently with what you now perceive. Speak only what builds. See only what heals. And remember that revelation is relationship. It grows deeper through love, not through curiosity. The more you dwell in humility, the clearer your sight becomes. Prophetic vision is not a destination. It is communion, a daily seeing with heaven. Each dawn invites new perception. Each night closes with reflection. And through it all, your eyes become living witnesses of divine order weaving through human life. Chosen one, let your awakened sight remain tender. See the world through mercy, not judgment. In every shadow, search for light. In every face, recognize the quiet reflection of heaven. Chosen one, the eyes are gates of authority. Through them, what you behold enters your spirit, and what you release shines back into the world. Heaven designed this exchange as both gift and responsibility. When you sanctify your gaze, when you choose light over noise, purity over pollution, you reclaim dominion over what influences your soul. You no longer live reacting to darkness. You live radiating direction. Your eyes are like twin torches. Wherever you look with love, shadows retreat. Wherever you turn with forgiveness, walls crumble. The enemy understands this power, which is why he tries so fiercely to capture your attention. But you, beloved, were not created to be distracted. You were created to see through illusion, to focus on truth until it reshapes reality around you. As the word declares in the book of Proverbs, chapter 4, verse 25, let your eyes look directly forward and your gaze be straight before you. This verse is not mere guidance, it is commandment. To look straight before you is to walk by faith, not by fear. Heaven calls you to align your eyes with destiny, to focus not on the storm but on the promise beyond it. When your vision is sanctified, your authority multiplies. You begin to notice that your peace shifts atmospheres. Where once confusion reigned, now calm follows your presence. You are not imagining this, your gaze carries spiritual voltage. The clearer your eyes, the greater your influence in the unseen. Guarding your sight does not mean avoiding the world. It means engaging it differently. You begin to see people not as problems, but as stories. You discern pain hiding behind smiles, and rather than judging, you intercede. The sanctified eye does not condemn, it redeems. Every time you choose to see with grace, you mirror heaven's perspective. The angels rejoice because your gaze becomes an extension of God's compassion. When you walk into a room, light enters with you. When you speak truth, it lands like morning dew on weary hearts. This is the quiet authority of the chosen. And now, beloved, if this message has poured peace into your spirit, let your heart respond in whatever way feels true. When you like this message, imagine it as striking a single match in the dark, a spark that tells heaven, I agree with the light. When you share, see it as opening a window in a house long sealed. The air of grace rushes outward, touching places your feet may never go. Your simple act becomes wind beneath another soul's wings. When you comment, your words are not noise but echoes. Each phrase you write is a ripple of energy saying, I see, I understand, I carry this forward. Heaven hears sincerity even in small sentences. When you subscribe, picture it not as joining a channel, but as planting your lantern among others on a hill. Together, our lights become constellations that help travelers find direction in the night. And if ever your heart whispers the desire to donate, think of it as placing a single stone into the foundation of something eternal. You are not paying. You are building. Each offering, no matter how gentle, becomes a bridge of hope for someone who will hear these words after you. These gestures, liking, sharing, subscribing, giving, are not commands. They are invitations. They are ways to weave your light into the greater tapestry heaven is creating through us all. You do not owe it. You own it. It is your choice, your worship, your contribution to a chorus of goodness rising on the earth. The truth is, heaven never forces generosity. Real giving flows from recognition. When your soul feels warmed, you naturally pass the flame onward. That is how the kingdom expands, one voluntary act of love at a time. Chosen one. Your eyes are no longer passive observers. They are beacons through which the unseen speaks. Keep them steady. Let what you watch, read, and support mirror the person you are becoming. Every moment of attention is a seed. Plant it where light can grow. So walk forward with open eyes and willing heart. Let your gaze sanctify what it meets. And if this message has met you with peace, carry that peace outward through kindness, through action, through presence. The authority of your vision is not in command, but in compassion. Every time you choose to see goodness, you strengthen heaven's rhythm upon the earth. Your focus becomes a melody the angels recognize, soft, steady, radiant. The world listens, even when you do not speak. because your gaze itself becomes a song of grace. Let your attention move like flowing water, gentle, patient, nourishing. Where you look with love, life returns. The dry places of others' hearts bloom again, because your perception carries healing power born from compassion and clarity. And when the night feels long, lift your eyes. You will notice the reflection of divine light staring back from everything around you, reminding you that even your gaze carries eternity's flame within it. Chosen one. The signs that appear before your eyes are not accidents. Heaven has always spoken through patterns, numbers, reflections, and repetitions. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations, heaven's quiet way of saying, you are on the right path. Keep walking. You have likely noticed certain numbers appearing again and again on clocks, receipts, pages, or even dreams. They appear at the exact moments your spirit begins to doubt or question direction. This is divine timing. Heaven uses repetition to draw attention to revelation. What you call numbers are heaven's coordinates, reminding you that your life is unfolding with precision. Some numbers appear as comfort, others as instruction. When you repeatedly see mirrored patterns like 1111 or 222, they are heaven's way of showing alignment, a reflection of order between earth and spirit. Each pattern carries a vibration, a message. Angels do not speak in words alone, they also speak in rhythm. Yet these patterns are not limited to numbers. They appear in symbols, colors, even reflections. You might catch your own image doubled in glass or water, and something within you pauses. That pause is the whisper of awareness. Heaven is saying, look again. This is not just reflection, it is revelation. The prophet Habakkuk understood this when he wrote that vision must be made plain, so that the one who reads it may run with it. Heaven writes upon your path not in ink but in signs, for the obedient heart knows how to read what the eyes alone cannot interpret. As the scripture says in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 2, write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so he may run who reads it. This is not only instruction to prophets, it is guidance for you. The visions you witness through daily signs are part of a greater message written uniquely for your life. Each repetition, each reflection, is a divine punctuation mark emphasizing what heaven is teaching you now. When numbers repeat, heaven is tracking rhythm. When reflections repeat, heaven is mirroring identity. And when symbols follow you, heaven is ensuring you do not forget your assignment. Your eyes have been entrusted with a language of order, so that you may never lose your way amid chaos. You may wonder why these signs increase when you feel lost. It is because heaven amplifies visibility when trust wavers. The more uncertain you become, the more gently heaven floods your sight with confirmation. Each pattern that catches your attention is a light post along your journey. Do not fear missing a sign. Heaven is patient. The same revelation will circle back again and again until your heart understands it. The universe is not testing your intelligence, it is shaping your awareness. At times, these signs will also appear in dreams. Numbers glowing, repeated symbols, mirrored rooms. These are not ordinary dreams. They are messages wrapped in imagery. When you awaken, write what you saw. Heaven continues the conversation through memory. What begins as a symbol in sleep often unfolds as instruction in waking life. Mirrors, too, carry meaning. When you find yourself meeting your own reflection more often, it is heaven teaching identity. Every reflection asks the same question, can you recognize me in you yet? For to see yourself clearly is to see divinity reflected. Chosen one. Signs and numbers do not control destiny, they reveal communion. They are the footprints of angels marking where heaven has already walked ahead of you. They remind you that your journey is not random, that unseen order surrounds every step. You may not always understand immediately what a sign means, but trust the peace it brings. Divine confirmation always settles, never agitates. Confusion is not heaven's language, clarity is. If a sign leads you to peace, it is pure. If it stirs fear, it is counterfeit. The repetition of divine symbols is heaven's rhythm echoing within creation. Every sequence is a heartbeat, reminding you that God's timing is never late. Every reflection is a mirror of grace, showing you that eternity watches tenderly through the eyes of time. Do not chase the signs. Allow them to approach naturally. Revelation flows where rest abides. The more you trust, the more clearly you perceive. Heaven does not speak to the anxious, it speaks to the attentive. So walk forward, eyes open yet calm. Recognize the language of repetition not as mystery to decode, but as melody to follow. You are part of a divine pattern, and each symbol before your eyes is heaven's reassurance, we are with you. The path is unfolding as it should. When signs appear again, breathe and smile. They are heaven's fingerprints left gently on your timeline, reminders that every coincidence you encounter is actually orchestration wearing a humble disguise. Let your eyes rest softly on these symbols without obsession. They are not puzzles to solve, but poems to feel, messages written in light, meant to steady your steps with peace. Chosen one, when the long journey of awakening reaches its quiet fullness, something shifts forever in the way you see. The veil that once separated the natural from the divine becomes transparent. You no longer chase signs or search for proof, you live within awareness itself. The anointed vision, once glimpsed in fragments, becomes fluent. You see not only with your eyes, but with your essence. The world remains as it was, same streets, same faces, but its meaning deepens beyond measure. Light does not merely fall upon things, it rises from within them. You begin to understand that every leaf carries memory, every face holds eternity, every shadow contains the shape of purpose. You no longer see separation between heaven and earth, you recognize their reflection in one another. This clarity does not come with noise or spectacle. It comes quietly, like dawn. The light does not shout, it simply reveals. The angels, once perceived as distant, now move as gently as thought. You sense them not by sight, but by harmony. You realize they were never above you. They were beside you all along, teaching you how to see with heaven's perspective. As recorded in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 24, verse 31, then their eyes were opened, and they recognized him. That moment captures the essence of arrival. Recognition. Not discovery, but remembrance. Your anointed vision restores what the world made you forget, that you were never blind, only untrained. The divine presence was always near. Your eyes merely had to adjust to its brightness. Now, when you look upon others, you no longer categorize by status or flaw. You see stories written in divine ink. Every person becomes a reflection of something sacred. Even pain appears different, it reveals depth instead of despair. You look upon brokenness and sense beauty forming beneath it, as though heaven is sculpting redemption within the cracks. Your vision is no longer reactive but creative. When you focus on peace, peace manifests. When you gaze with mercy, healing begins. This is the mystery of anointed sight. It does not just witness reality, it helps shape it. Your eyes, filled with faith, become instruments of divine transformation. The angels rejoice at this stage, for they know the student has become co-laborer. You are no longer only receiving guidance, you are radiating it. You have become what you once sought: the message, the light, the sign. Heaven's language now flows through you effortlessly. You no longer interpret it, you embody it. The anointed vision also brings profound humility. For now you see how vast the plan truly is and how gently heaven works through human imperfection. You stop striving to control outcomes. You begin to trust the unseen order with serenity. You understand that timing is not delay, it is design. You also notice a new compassion arising in your eyes. You see those who walk in confusion and no longer judge. Instead, you silently bless them, remembering your own path through uncertainty. Your heart becomes patient, your gaze kind. You learn that true power is not in forcing others to see what you see, but in loving them until their eyes open naturally. This vision changes how you experience time itself. Moments stretch wider, filled with significance. The smallest encounter feels eternal because you sense heaven breathing through it. You stop rushing, you begin to dwell. Awareness becomes prayer, and every act becomes sacred. At last, you realize that your eyes were never merely instruments of observation, they are portals of participation. Through them, heaven experiences earth, and earth experiences heaven. You are the bridge, the living connection where both realms meet. Chosen one, this is what it means to see as heaven sees. It is not about miracles performed or visions displayed, it is about perception redeemed. It is about waking each day and seeing holiness hidden in the ordinary. You are no longer the seeker of light, you are the bearer of it. The same flame that once flickered uncertainly within your eyes now burns steady, guiding others through their night seasons. And though your journey of sight continues endlessly, your spirit now rests in clarity, knowing that the light within you will never fade. For the eyes of the chosen are not just open, they are eternal. They see love in all things. And through that love, the world is made new again. Every time your eyes open to morning light, remember they are witnesses of eternity wrapped in time. Each sunrise is heaven's whisper saying, "See again, and know that I am here. Walk gently, beloved. Let your gaze rest kindly on creation. Even your smallest glance carries healing when it flows from love refined through divine sight. And when night returns, close your eyes in gratitude. The same light you saw in the world now glows within you, guiding dreams with quiet assurance that you are forever seen by heaven. Chosen one, if this message has reached the deepest corners of your spirit, let your heart decide how to respond. You have walked through light, through tears, through awakening, and now you stand in clarity. What you do next is not obligation, it is expression. When you like this message, imagine it as pressing your hand into wet clay, leaving a gentle mark that says, "I was here, and this truth touched me." It is a silent echo that travels farther than you think, rippling across unseen hearts. When you share, see it as lighting a lantern and placing it on a high hill. You do not know who walks in the valley below, but your light becomes their direction. The message that guided you tonight may be the very one that saves another tomorrow. When you comment, let your words be like petals released into the wind, honest, simple, alive. Each comment becomes a seed of connection, letting the angels weave souls together through shared revelation. When you subscribe to Tumoshit, imagine stepping into a circle of eternal light, where others gather not out of routine but recognition. You are saying, "I wish to keep walking this path of sight, not alone but with others who see." And if your heart feels drawn to donate, see it not as payment, but participation, as pouring a drop of your own light into the river that carries these messages across the earth. Your gift becomes part of the current that flows toward healing, hope, and awakening. Whatever you choose, let it come from love, never pressure. Heaven values the posture of your heart more than the motion of your hand. You are free. You are seen. You are part of the story heaven continues to write through willing souls like yours.